You know, Macy, I never really thought you were good enough for my son, but I guess we can't all have everything we want, can we? Those words still ring in my ear to this day. Despite going against my mother-in-law's wishes, I married the love of my life, Neil, 3 years ago, and we've been a happy couple ever since, despite my mother-in-law not wanting it to be that way. Hi there, my name is Macy, and this is the story of how I embarrassed my mother-in-law so badly that she's still unreachable to this day. Every now and then I dust my shoulders off for the good work I did, but after enough gloating, time for story time. I never really liked my mother-in-law, Irene. It's not that I had anything against her. It's just that she had always been overly critical of me, ever since Neil and I got together. She would make snide comments about my cooking, my fashion choices, and even my job. I always tried to shrug it off and be the bigger person, but it wasn't easy. But there was one incident that really sealed the deal for me. A couple of years ago, when Neil and I were engaged, Irene made a comment that still haunts me to this day. We were at a family gathering, and Irene had had a bit too much to drink. She turned to me and said, "You know, Macy, I never really thought you were good enough for my son, but I guess we can't all have everything we want, can we?" I was mortified. There were horrified looks from everyone around us, wondering what on earth I did to poor Mom Irene to upset her so much. Except I didn't do anything. I was a loving and caring girlfriend then, and I'm a loving and caring wife now. She just made me look bad because she has her reasons as to why she doesn't like me, and I don't know why. I didn't know how to respond, so I just smiled weakly and excused myself to go to the bathroom. I cried for a good 10 minutes, feeling embarrassed and hurt. After that, I distanced myself from Irene as much as possible. I thought it would be better for my mental health if I did so, and it did indeed work. I would only attend family gatherings when I absolutely had to, and even then, I would keep my distance from Irene. You must be wondering about Neil, my husband, and what he has to say about all of this. Well, the thing is, he knew that Irene and I didn't get along, but he just perceived it as your typical mother-in-law rivalry that's bound to happen with a lot of couples. But Neil didn't know what his mother did that night, and I didn't tell him. I know that as a couple, we have to be completely honest with each other, but I couldn't stand the idea of breaking his poor little heart like that. He thought the world of his mother, and to hear something like that would completely shatter him. He'd go Godzilla and probably ruin the relationship he had with his mother, and as someone who didn't have a good relationship with their mother, I wanted to protect him from experiencing the same heartache. Anyways, a few weeks ago, Irene called us all for dinner at her house. "You two need to come to my party. It's somewhat of a work event I'm hosting, and I decided to invite some family members also to show off to my lovely workmates." That sounds nice. I'll ask Macy to come." "No, there's no asking. Just tell her that she has to come. It's very important." Irene hung up the phone before Neil and I could tell her that we were both here, listening to what she had to say. "Well, what do you think, babe?" "Well, I think I would want to sit this one out." "Oh, come on, Macy. You're no fun anymore. You never want to go out with me to family functions. I know you don't like my mom, but is it really that bad?" "If only you knew, my love. I just don't feel too comfortable around big groups of people, and this is for her work buddies, right?" "I don't know, babes." "Come on, babes. Let's help her out. It sounded like she really wanted you there. Maybe this is her attempt at extending an olive branch. Please, come with me." How could I say no to my beautiful husband? Of course I relented. "Okay, babe, let's do this." Little did I know that this night would be the night that I last heard from my mother-in-law. The night of the big dinner event that Irene was hosting finally arrived. Neil and I were looking dapper, as per the requests of the host herself. It seemed like there were a lot of important people here. Perhaps Irene was hosting this event to get in good graces with her superiors and supervisors. It looked like she wanted to impress them badly so that she can properly set up her retirement funding. When we arrived, I braced myself, as I normally have to do, for Irene's snarky and snide comments toward me. She'd always do them in such a subtle and inconspicuous way, so that if anybody called her out, she could easily backtrack. Come on, people, I know we all know at least one person who acts like this. It was extremely hard to navigate such people because I could easily tell when it happened. But I'm such a sensitive and shy person that I would just try and brush it off. That's exactly what happened that night when she practically stated that she wished I wasn't engaged to be married to Neil. I ran away, as I always did, but this night things were a bit different. But let me not get ahead of myself. What happened next was quite shocking, actually. As I mentioned, I was gearing myself up for a long night of dodging snide comments, but as I met Irene for the first time in what felt like ages, she did something peculiar. Chipper. Oh, my darling Macy, how have you been? You've been MIA. I'm so glad that you came out this time around. Oh, I didn't think you noticed my absence. Nonsense. I'm so glad Neil was able to convince you to come. You look stunning, by the way. Red is your color, darling. You should wear it more often. I was shocked. Did she fall and hit her head, perhaps? Why was she being so nice? I was taken aback by this newfound sympathy, and it appeared to be genuine for the most part, but years of dealing with this left me skeptical of this new behavior. The night was proceeding, and we were chatting and making small talk as Neil and I were being paraded around Irene's co-workers like shiny new toys. Neil is a great talker and charmer. I guess he gets that from his mother, so conversation was flowing easily amongst all of us. I liked Irene's co-workers. They were so sweet and kind. Later on in the night, I saw another face that I hadn't seen in a while, except this time I openly welcomed seeing this face. Benjamin, how are you? Hey, Macy, it's been a while. Listen, can I talk to you? I was concerned. Why was the normally jovial Benjamin so quiet and serious all of a sudden? It seemed like tonight was a night for changes in personalities all around. Ben led me to a quiet place outside, and I was growing more and more worried. Ben, what's going on? Well, Mace, I have some news, and I'm so sorry in advance for everything, but I thought that you needed to know. What happened? Damn, I thought that she had changed her ways. I'm so disappointed. Ben, I'm getting scared. I'm sorry for keeping you in suspense. It's just that, well, it's not that easy for me to say. Part of me is embarrassed because it took me such a long time to say it. Oh, Ben, if this is about that crush you used to have on me, it's all water under the bridge. Please, don't feel embarrassed about it. What? What are you... Oh, you mean that time? Well, I wasn't thinking about that, but now I am. You weren't referring to that? Then what were you referring to? Okay, so we all know how Aunt Irene treats you. We all see that she's kind of snarky, but not too much. But it's still a lot to handle, and I'm so sorry she's been treating you this way. Oh, well, tonight she's been quite lovely, actually. She even complimented my dressing sense. For once, I think I can safely come out of hiding now and be more open and comfortable with her. Neil said it seemed like she was extending an olive branch. Yeah, well, I don't think you'll feel the same way after seeing what I have to show you. What is it? Ben proceeds to show me a video recording of a tipsy-looking and sounding Irene talking about me in the kitchen with one of her friends. And her nose is way too big. She should seriously get a nose job. And that dress that she was wearing, geez. I knew she didn't have any fashion sense, but I didn't know it was this bad. I don't know who told her that red is her color, but whoever told her that should be arrested. I was shocked. yet again, but unfortunately this type of shocked feeling was one that I was all too familiar with. I would be shocked at the new insults she'd hurl at me, but I was surprised that she was speaking with such malice. I overheard her talking to someone as I was coming from the bathroom. I tried my best to get as much information as possible, but I had to remain hidden, so this was the best I could get. I'm so sorry for all of the awful things she said about you. Unfortunately, Ben, I'm kind of used to it at this point. And see, that's your problem. You always let her walk all over you. I'm so sorry I didn't show you this earlier. There's nothing to apologize for. I'm not talking about this video. See, there's another important video that I think you need to see. I tried to hide it from you all those years ago, mainly because I thought you'd prefer not to see the embarrassing moment. But considering what I saw tonight, I'm glad that I kept it all these years. Ben begins to show me a video, and at first, I didn't really know what he was showing me, as it appeared as though Ben was taking a video of him talking with one of his relatives. And then, in the distance of the video, I could hear it. I heard those words that still haunted me. You know, Macy, I never really thought you were good enough for my son, but I guess we can't all have everything we want, can we? Suddenly, the camera whipped to the direction of the commotion to reveal me, very red in the face, and Irene smirking at me. I then dashed off, not noticing the camera, but Irene remained. Even though the video, someone could see that the air was filled with thick tension. Irene proceeded to speak. Oh, come on, we were all thinking about it. I can't stand that girl. I don't even know what Neil sees in her. She's so ugly, and I don't think she even knows how to be a good mother. And another thing. Okay, Auntie Irene, let's get you some water. The video ended with Ben seeming to take Irene away, and then the footage stopped altogether. I didn't know that she said all of that afterward. And that's why I didn't want to show you. It's a lot to hear, and I realize now that I should have told you all those years ago. Perhaps something would have changed. I was banking on the fact that perhaps Auntie Irene was beginning to warm up to you, but after hearing what she said today, I can see that absolutely nothing has changed, and you have every right to know that. As much as it pains me to know that a lot of you knew this information before, I'm glad that you were just trying to protect my feelings. Thank you for telling me now, though. Better late than never, I guess. I'm going to send these videos to you right now. You can do whatever you want with them, but I think you need to show these to Neil. I have a better idea, actually. I'm sick of being so shy and complacent when she so blatantly disrespects me. It's my turn to embarrass her. With the videos now in my possession, I marched towards the living room where Irene was hosting a presentation to some of her co-workers. Oh, darling, I'm so sorry, but this is a closed-off area, for a little while at least. Trust me, I have some very important information that I think your co-workers would like to know. Oh, then by all means, share what you have to say. Is it about my hard work ethic or my leadership skills? Oh, trust me, it's even better than all of that. It shows the real you. Marvelous! Then by all means, connect your phone to the TV. Oh, you guys, isn't my daughter-in-law just darling? She made a whole presentation about me. There were various awes and commendations floating through the room, and at that moment, Neil came in. Hey, I got your text. What's going on? Hey, babes, I needed you to come and see this too. It's very important. Oh, okay. Neil, can you believe it? Your wife made a lovely presentation about me. Tell everyone to come and see this. People began to gather round in the living room, and although it was getting a bit cramped, all of the guests managed to fit in. Well, here goes nothing, Irene. Yes. I know you've never liked me, and honestly, I don't even know why you don't like me. All night you've been acting like we're some big happy family. But I know how you feel about me." People began to look and sound confused. They were shifting uncomfortably and murmuring amongst themselves about the brewing drama. "Babe, what are you doing?" "Just trust me on this one, babe." "Irene, I get that you don't like me, but must you be so cruel to me too?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "I don't think you should present anymore. Give me back the remote." "Not till I'm finished." "See, I got some very interesting information tonight. Remember how you said you loved my dress and that I look good in red?" Yes, of course." "Then why did you say this?" I played the video that Ben showed me, the one that was taken that same evening. The same hurtful words were repeated, and although I heard those words before, they still stung. The whole room was gasping, wondering why she was being so cruel. Neil had furrowed his eyebrows, and he began to look very angry. I was talking about someone else, obviously." "Yeah? Who?" Irene looked around the room to see that I was the only one wearing red that night, so it was obvious that she was talking about me. She began to look very flustered and angry. "What are you trying to pull here, Missy? Everyone, please don't mind this mishap. I believe Macy isn't well. You should go lie down, darling." "Oh, no, Irene. I'm quite fine, actually. If anything, I feel very liberated. And ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that's not all. Let me present to you something that occurred approximately 3 years ago. Some awful words were said to me and about me, and I thought it best to share them with you." I played the second video, the original video, the one with those damning words that were still ringing in my ears. Everyone was gasping and expressing their heartfelt disappointment and disgust with what they heard Irene say about me. Neil especially looked like he was about to blow. Once the video was concluded, there was dead silence, and in the room everyone was looking at Irene, including myself. "You see, guys, this is the real Irene. Don't let her fool you into thinking that she is a kind and warm person. She can be as sweet as apple pie to your face, but trust me, once your back is turned, she is ready to stab it and hurt all the ugliest insults to you. I've met all of you lovely people tonight, and you seem to be running a legitimate business. So I implore you to think very carefully about how you praise or promote Irene, because if it were up to me, I would never continue to work with someone so ugly and cruel." Irene was glancing around the room, searching for someone, anyone who was willing to hear her out, or rather hear the lies that she was most likely conjuring to cover her tracks. Well, you see, the thing is, what happened was, that day I was very drunk, you see." Someone in the crowd shouted. "Yeah, but a drunk mind always speaks sober thoughts." "Who said that? Review yourself." "Listen here, Macy. I don't know what's gotten into you, but you need to apologize to all of my guests for your behavior." "No, I think it's you who needs to do the apologizing, Mom." Neil finally spoke. He hadn't said a word since he was in the room, and now he seemed like he had a bone to pick with his mother. You treated my wife like this?" "Neil, baby." "Don't baby me, Mom. What is wrong with you? Why would you say such awful things?" Oh, come on, everybody. I was joking. Yes, that's what it was. It was all a prank. That's what you kids are doing nowadays, isn't it?" "Stop lying to us, Mom. You're only embarrassing yourself even more. You are a pathetic woman, and you're a sad excuse for a colleague and a mother-in-law. I'm glad that everyone sees what I see now. What do you have to say for yourself, Irene began to cry, still trying to shift the attention from me and onto her. She was looking for sympathy, but no one was willing to give it to her. She was obviously getting desperate, and her facade began to slip, revealing the true monster underneath. She began berating everybody, including her co-workers. She said that they were all trolls, but not believing her, but her outburst was doing nothing to help her in this situation. She was clearly spiraling, and slowly but surely people began to leave, including her supervisors and superiors. Needless to say that she wouldn't be getting that big pension fund she was vying for. Not only that, but Neil had told me the next day that he overheard some people say that she would be fired, effective immediately due to her gross misconduct. Surely enough, she was fired and she was given a meager pension fund. But after hearing the news that she'd been fired, it was as if she had disappeared from the face of the earth. I should probably mention that after everyone left, Neil berated his mother in front of me, Ben, and some other family members who were part of this occasion. He forced her to apologize, and she was completely mortified. Such a proud and malicious woman's worst fear is taking accountability for her actions. But she had to. She apologized and immediately ran to her room. The rest of us left, and when we heard the news that she'd been sacked, we wanted to contact her and console her, even though she deserved it. But alas, she wasn't returning any of our calls, including Neil's. A month had passed, then 6, then a whole year had gone by, and still to this day we haven't heard from her. Such a shame, considering she always had a lot to say. And now that she'd been humbled, she was as quiet as a mouse. How pathetic indeed.